Yes. Okay. Finally. Oh, that took forever. You go away for a couple of days and all of a sudden things change and you've got to reconnect. And here I am. Hi, everyone. Dallas Piana here from Coaching Scaling Secrets. And I feel like I'm on top of you on the camera here. If you're just hopping on, say hi. Love to see who joins me live. Hopefully you'll participate as we go through this. And today I wanted to talk about validating your program idea before you go to market, right? You want to validate or test it to make sure that what you're presenting or what you are, your program, moving people from A to B or A to Z is what they want, okay? Because you don't want to start making your program up and then nobody wants it, okay? We want to be sure that we are offering your audience, who you think your ideal clients are, what they want, okay? So how do you validate? How do you test your program out? Well, you can do it through a survey. And you can either do a survey through a written form, like creating a survey, through Google Docs, and I'll go over some other ideas which you can use, or you could do phone interviews. Now, I prefer phone interviews. But I get it. A lot of you are kind of nervous about having phone interviews in the beginning, which is fine. You can do them later, but I'm telling you, they reveal so much information to you when you get somebody on the phone live rather than just a survey. And they have found through written surveys that people, subconsciously want to look good. So they want to, a lot of time they're answering the questions the way they think you want to hear the answers. So, but you know what? You can do it either way. The point is you want to test your market out. You definitely want to either interview them or survey your audience because you want to give them what they want, right? You certainly don't want to spend all this time creating something and nobody buys, right? Okay. So you want to create, it doesn't matter if you're doing an interview or a survey, you're going to create a list of questions. And what I like is to keep the questions under 7, okay? 7 is plenty. And have them written out so that you are spontaneous, okay? So let's talk about laying it out in a survey form, okay? So where do you create a survey for those of you who have never created a survey online? You can do it on Google Forms. If you're on Google Forms, it's free. You could do Typeforms is another free service, or SurveyMonkey. SurveyMonkey also has an upgrade, but you can also do a free on SurveyMonkey. It's plenty. There's enough. But Google Forms is just fine too. If you're looking for something more elaborate, you could do PaperForm, which is what I use. It's a paid service, or JotForm. Okay, J-O-T form. So those are 5 ideas that you can use. Okay. So you want to create go through questions that you want to ask, and you want to know, most people don't know what their goals are. They might have a goal, but they are more apt to tell you what they don't want. Okay. So it's like, when I do workshops and I ask people, I go over, this is like perfect. If you had a bunch of people over for, hanging out with you in your living room and it was time for dinner and you said, okay, let's order out. What kind of food do you want? Most people will say what they don't want. I do not want Indian tonight. I do not want Chinese tonight. I do not want Italian tonight. Nobody says what they really want. Okay. So it's better when you set up your survey or your interview questions that you're asking questions that are kind of in what they don't want, or what are their challenges, or what are their struggles, or their fears, or what don't they like, okay? They're much more apt to answer your survey or interview questions. Now, if you're doing a written form, I think you should have multiple choice underneath to give them so that they can, click off what the answers are. Okay. So you list out all the answers that it could possibly be and give them the opportunity to choose more than one if that's applicable. Okay. But on a phone interview, you want to ask an open-ended question. So for instance, what are, the three biggest challenges you are having with XYZ? Okay. Which is around the subject matter that you are an authority in or an expert in, right? That you teach in. So you want to set it up so you're extracting information from them. Okay. So you want to deal in the more of the negative in questions, challenges, struggles, fears. What don't they like? That has to be one of the top questions, like the number one question. Then next, I want to know, what have they already tried? But, we've been online. I was just looking. Facebook only came alive in 2007. Okay, so that's only like 15 years old, right? So we've been online, and have seen so many programs, and probably people have done programs or coaching services or read books or taken seminars or done webinars. People that come to you to get the solution that you provide, or go through the solution of how to get the result that you provide, okay? They have already tried multiple things. They have tried seminars. They have tried webinars. They have trying to seek the answers to help them lose weight, find the love of their life, how to launch your coaching business off the ground, how to, have a better relationship with your daughter, whatever their issue is, or whatever your expertise is in your subject matter. People have tried things out already. Okay, quite a bit. So you want to find out what those things are, right? Because you definitely don't want to provide something that didn't work for them. Okay, and then you want to find out, why didn't it work for them? Okay, so was it time? Was it a distraction that came in? Was it a relationship with the program? Was it a course where a lot of people drop out of courses? They have no motivation to finish a course. There's no oomph in it. That's why people are seeking coaches, someone to hold their hand through the whole thing. So you want to definitely find out what it is that is stopping them from really getting where they want to be. Okay, so that is that. Then, hi, Helene, nice to see you. And then, you want to pick a few more questions in there around, that to extract some information from them. So you could ask, what do you think you need help with solving? Okay, you can ask that and see what they give you. Or what I love is, why can't you get the result on your own? So that is, they're telling you, that they need help, that they've taken so many courses, they've done webinars, they've done seminars, but they just can't get to where they want to. You want them to say to you, I am looking for a coach. I need a coach right now. Okay. These other programs and courses is just not cutting it. Okay. So that is a great question as well. I personally like to put on, I like to know if they're male or female in a survey. I like to know their age as well, the demographic, and they will give it to me. And the other thing, what I prefer to do is not to entice them with a monetary, if you fill out the survey, if you get on an interview with me, I'm going to give you a monetary prize or something like that. You don't want to use it as a way to manipulate or persuade people to get on the phone with you. You really want people that are generally, I'll answer some questions for you. And you can say, if you give me your email address, I will send you a training around the answers that I get the most of, or the challenges I hear the most with. I will send out a training via email, or I'll do a short masterclass or something to the people that answer the survey or get on an interview with me. That's what you can provide rather than giving them, a chance to win something. Okay. That never works. Okay. Then you just get people interested in the survey or getting on a phone with you because they want the prize. They are less likely to be honest about their answers. Okay. So who's done this? Has anyone done a survey? Have you done one? If you've done one, let me know below in the comments. I'd love to hear, what it is you've already done. Okay. And did it shape or help you mold your program? Okay. So most of you are new on here and have not launched your MVP yet, your beta program, which is your testing program, right? You want to test it out. So you definitely, people that do this gain so much information from the people they survey or interview that it really helps them to shape their programs. Okay. So that you are from the get-go, you are providing to your people that definitely hop into your beta program what they want. And that's key. That is key because you want people to, not, from the get-go, they are intrigued and they like moving through your program. Okay. So, if you have no idea what questions to ask, I have an ebook written about 15 best questions to ask, pick and choose. Like I said, I only like 7 at a time. You don't want to overwhelm people, especially on a phone interview. You want to keep it short and crisp in 20 minutes or less when you're doing a phone interview. Okay. And you want to keep it moving. Okay. So if you have no idea, I'd highly recommend getting this. So I have like 15 questions here that you can pick and choose which ones you want to ask. I also, if you're doing a phone interview, what's so great about it is you can ask clarifying questions to go deeper. Okay. So you can ask questions like, why is that? Can you explain that a little bit more to me? Whereas in a survey, you can't go deeper to kind of peel back the onion to really see what's underneath. Okay, which is really revealing. Okay, so I have I've got like 10 questions here you can use to prompt people to go deeper, to share more. Okay. The other thing I want to say is, so how do you test your market? You can put a request out in other people's Facebook group, your own Facebook group, your own personal page, your email list. You could do it on LinkedIn. If you're on groups on LinkedIn, you can ask people to participate in an interview, a short interview with you, so you can gain more data from your ideal clients. Or you could ask them who would take 3 minutes to fill out this survey. Okay, make it short and to the point because people don't have a lot of time. But I'm telling you, this is like the #1 thing you want to be doing before you develop or flesh out or draft out your program. Okay. So if you want this customer research ebook with the questions in it, I'll put the link below. It is, I think it's $27. And you can get it right away today. And then you can start developing your own program, your own survey, your own questions to ask you through a phone interview. Okay. So good to see you all here. I will see you next week. You know how to reach me in the messengers or below. And I'd love to see who else is interested in getting the questions. All right. Bye, you guys.